based on who we are and what our beliefs are. And I believe in helping other people and being a go-giver. Give all you can, and that's success to me.
Welcome to the Build to Billions podcast, where we guide successful entrepreneurs and investors on their journey from millions to billions. We believe the key to scaling and compounding your wealth in life starts every single day with the mindset and practice of stewardship over ownership and applying billionaire biblical principles. Our ultimate goal is to help you scale and compound your wealth in life so you can give more all of it away to help MVPs, the most vulnerable people. Hey, I'm your host today, Brett Swartz. In every episode, we are joined by some of the world's top entrepreneurs, millionaires, and billionaires, and they share their secrets, wisdom, and insights with us so we can all scale and compound our impact. Excited about our next guest. He's out of the great state of Georgia. He has flipped over 500 houses and has owned both short-term and long-term rentals. He has raised private money for multiple projects and owns a private lending business. And he's currently developing a 3-story Class A self-storage outside of Atlanta, and so much more. Please welcome to the show with me, Mr. Brandon Rickman. Brandon, how are you doing?
Thank you, Brett. I'm doing great. Good to be on today with you.
Yeah, grateful to have you. And our listeners who are getting to know you for the first time, would you give us just a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Sure. So I grew up in Atlanta. My dad was actually a builder, so I kind of grew up in the real estate and construction industry. Learned kind of the old school way. My dad taught us to dig footings and pour concrete, how to roof houses, hang sheetrock, all the different trades. And so my brother and I both grew up doing construction from the ground up, and then did a lot of new construction through 08, 09. There was a little bit of real estate turmoil that happened back then, as you know. And after that, started focusing more on flipping houses, less on new construction. And so since that time, I've been flipping and own both short-term, long-term rentals, like you mentioned. And then we're now building a self-storage facility just outside of Atlanta.
Fantastic. I absolutely love that background. And growing up, I grew up in the Bay Area of California, building houses with my mom and my dad, and learning a lot of the similar things, and fell in love with real estate at a young age. So that's cool that we share that background. I want to dive right into the show topic today, which is all about, becoming a flip genius. So what is the number one secret to flipping, single family houses or rentals?
I think the most difficult part of it is finding inventory, finding properties at the right price so that you can flip them. There's a lot of details underneath that, but at the end of the day, any successful real estate business on the investor side is going to start with finding inventory. So we went from, buying off the MLS and the FMLS as we grew, started doing more and more outbound marketing and direct mail, bandit signs, cold calling, texting, PPC, all the different things that we do to find off-market properties. And that's really been the key. Once you have the inventory, you're able to buy at the right price, then, your exit strategy becomes much easier, whether you choose to keep it as a rental or flip it and sell it at retail. Finding the property off-market at the right price is key.
How has AI helped you find off-market properties at the right price helped you so far?
We started last year. We hired an AI developer to build us outbound marketing bot, and probably 6 months later, we're still marginally successful. As you know, with the calling is not perfect. There's a little delay, some latency with a bot. Sometimes they get the numbers right, sometimes they get the numbers wrong. So it's not perfected yet. One of the things that we do use it for currently, though, is following up with our CRM. So in our CRM, we have all the leads from the last 10, 15 years. But the ones that are within the last 6 to 8 months is usually where we start. And so an AI bot is really good at following up with existing clients. It will look into our CRM. It'll see the notes. It'll see the last time we spoke to them. And so it'll kind of warm them back up. It'll know what our last conversation was, reach back out to them, ultimately try to schedule a new appointment with that seller so that we can go meet with them and negotiate a sales price. So that's the way we're currently using it.
Cool. What CRM are you using, and did you build your own bot?
We are using Podio. I've used several different ones. We ended up with Podio, which Podio has a free version. It was built for real estate investors, has a free version, and then some paid versions and a lot of add-ons that we've done to that. Our AI bot was not successful. I say that. I mean, we made a bunch of calls with it, but we were trying to build our AI bot out so that it would do outbound calling and SMS, and just the amount of latency that was in there It's just not perfected enough yet. I think we will get there. But we weren't seeing the return that we wanted.
Okay.
So we discontinued it.
Got it. Okay. So number one secret is to find inventory, ideally off market, through direct mail, through automation, through AI follow up. Got it. What's the number two secret to becoming a flipping single family home genius?
So funding, our three parts are find, fund, and flip. So find is finding the inventory. Fund is how are you going to finance the project. And when I first started out, as a lot of people do, the only thing I knew that was an option was going to a bank to borrow money. And of course, banks are really hard to deal with as far as requiring tax records, W-2s. You have to obviously have a certain amount of income before they'll loan you money. And then you have to put a lot of money down. And as I got into the business and got to know other people, met with them, had some mentors and coaches along the way, I realized that there's other ways to finance the project, such as hard money lenders, and the best one, private lenders, who are personal friends and family members who will fund our projects because they're much more flexible. They can close quickly. They know me personally and trust me. So it's less about do I fit in their box, and it's more about the personal relationship. And so we can a lot of times borrow 100% of the purchase and rehab to do our flips. And when you're doing 7, 8, 9, 10 houses at a time, you need those different options for financing.
I love that. That's so good. The funding is so important these days. We say unlock capital, don't raise capital, but even more, loans, you almost have to unlock lenders and think of more creative ways. What have you found for the personal private lending? What's a good, solid, win-win? If someone's going to borrow on a primary home or on a investment real estate project, is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is it a certain interest rate these days? Is there any points? Give us, I know everything's negotiable, but what feels like is a good one for both sides?
I think 2 points and 12% is kind of our going rate with our private lenders. It could be a little more than that if you're working with hard money. Obviously, the rate is better if you're working with a bank. So if we buy something that we're going to keep as a rental, we might use private lenders or a hard money lender up front. And then once we get it stabilized, remodeled, put a tenant in there, we'll go to a traditional lender for a 30-year fixed or a 20-year fixed. Lower interest rate, but it has the debt to service coverage ratio to cover that. So we'll work with a traditional bank in that situation. But with hard money and private lenders, it's usually 2 points, 12%. We try to do one lender per property so that lender is in first lien position on the property. I don't like having multiple lenders on the same project just because it gets convoluted. So first lien position, usually less than 6 months. We'll do a 12-month note, but we're usually in and out in less than 6 months, whether we refi and hold the property or sell it at retail. Average turn time is about 90 days for us to do a full rehab, and then we'll sell the property. So it usually takes about 6 months. And again, 2 points, 12%. I do have some private lenders that'll do no points and just a straight 12%. But that's not the norm. That's not common.
Yeah, it's probably you developed, and done so much business with them over all the years and delivered on time that they like, hey, we're happy at 12. It's kind of like a CD for them, right?
Right.
Yeah, after doing 500 homes. That's awesome. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, moving on. So funding is number 2, right? Mm-hmm. Getting multiple sources, having one loan on it to keep it simple. I like that. No, just one first, right? For the whole thing. And then you have about a 6 to 12 month window, but most of the time it's like 6 months or less. You fixed it, you've improved it, and then you flip it, you sell it. Okay, got it. What's the next secret you said? You find it, fund it, and then what's the next one?
Flip.
Okay.
So the flip is actually the construction side of it. And, a lot of people they don't know a contractor. They don't know about how to budget, accurately to do a flip. How much is it going to cost? And so I have a background in construction, so I obviously look at the properties myself. But I always tell people, find a contractor, have a contractor go with you when you go see the house, show them what you want to do, and get them to give you the quote so that to do the work, so that when you're bidding on that house with a seller, letting the seller know how much you'll pay and negotiating, exactly how much it's going to cost you to do the rehab. So I always encourage people, take a contractor with you. Even if you have to reach out to other flippers in the area, we encourage everybody to go to RIAs or meetups with other real estate investors, ask them who they're using, who do they recommend for contracting work or tile work, paint, whatever it is, and then have those contractors go with you to give you a price of what it's going to cost. So you can add 10% overage to it as well. But knowing what it's going to cost is a big piece of the project. And it's something too that if you miss, you can miss by $20,000, $30,000 and it can kill your whole deal. So you want to make sure that you have an accurate budget for what it's going to cost you to flip the house.
Excellent. We're speaking with Mr. Brandon Rickman, everybody. Brandon Rickman, you can find him by going to theflipgenius.com. Theflipgenius.com. You can see examples of before and afters. They have generated over $25 million of revenue, 500 plus houses flipped, and they've taught over 1,500 students on how to do the same. He's got coaching, he's got a podcast, he's got this stuff here, theflipgenius.com. Okay, so now we flipped it. Was there a step 4, or you just pay your tax and just move on?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that we're doing the self-storage thing too now is, fixing a house, flipping a house is what I consider transactional business. It's kind of like building a new house. With a new house, you go find a lot, you build a house, you sell it. Well, now you got to go find another lot. Same thing with flipping houses. You find a house, you negotiate on it, you flip it, you sell it, you make some money, and that's great. But then you got to go find another house. So I encourage people to do more like flip 3 and then buy 1 to hold. Flip 3, buy 1 to hold, because if you have a long-term vision and you hold that property 10, 15, 20 years, we're buying for cash flow up front, but over that amount of time, it's going to appreciate in value. So you're building wealth along the way while you're still flipping houses for the immediate cash. And then with us, we've transitioned into the self-storage facility, which is also a huge part of real estate, but it's very recession-proof, much bigger project, many more zeros for raising and doing the construction. But it's a long-term kind of wealth building strategy.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about passive income before we go to the self-storage, because I also like that piece of it as well. I find that, the rich dad poor dad, right? They get in the 4th quadrant. Few people ever achieve that, right? And I grew up in the Bay Area, parents of all the houses and the rentals, and the properties and the development. And then I went to Marcus and Millichap and helped people buy and sell multifamily properties. So that was a bigger scale and 1031 exchanges and all these things. But it's always something, and if you enjoy doing the work and managing the properties and all that kind of stuff, man, that's great. But if there's a way to get what's called truly passive income, and I define this, brand as no shoes, no shirt, no problem. You're Kenny Chesney on the beach playing your guitar, and you've got your hat on, your glasses, your drink to the side, and you're just playing your song, right? And this durable, consistent, truly passive income is showing up every month. I don't have to deal with toilets, trash, termites, rent control. Out in California, it's terrible, right. And all these things. Georgia's much easier than in doing business. But the point is, I feel like that's what people really want, Brandon. In fact, we think that truly passive income is to your freedom and impact, as compounding interest is to your money.
Yeah.
And it took us a while to figure that out and really get to that point. So I love what you're saying there, but just practically, how do you accelerate that? Because I don't want to wait till I'm 50 or 60 or 70 years old to be able to be truly passive, right? And I only have so much time with my kids before they're 18, and I might want to do something else besides, fixing and flipping houses. So I know we're going to get to the self-storage here in a minute, but I want to focus like a laser on that piece, because I feel like it gets missed sometimes in this whole world of passive real estate investing. And I love it. I mean, this is what I grew up doing, right? And I still do it, but I feel like that's really what people want. They want to get to that 4th quadrant, but it's hard to get there. Any other accelerators to help us get there?
Yeah, I think one of the things that you can do is you can invest in a fund or a syndication. And so certainly in the multifamily world, you're very familiar with that. Self-storage, we do the same thing. But in our self-storage deal, as an example, we allow a minimum investment of $50,000. And I think being a money lender, a private money lender, or investing into a fund or syndication is truly the most passive thing that I can think of, because I'm going to take $50,000 or $100,000 that I've saved up. I'm going to invest it into your deal, your syndication, or your fund if you're running a private lending business, and you're going to pay me a fixed return, usually 10%, 11%, 12%. It could be more on a syndication. And I don't have to do anything. I just get a check in the mail every month or every quarter, as long as the property is cash flowing. And you want to find people that obviously people who have a lot of success in their background. They've been doing it for a long time. you don't want to just go, throw 50,000 or 100,000 at anybody who walks up and asks for it. But if you're interested in doing that and you have a good job and you're making good money and you want to build wealth, take 50,000, 100,000, whatever that number is, find a person and a business who has been successful in the multifamily game or in the fund space or in the self-storage space and invest with them. They're doing all the work as a GP, a general partner. You become what's called an LP, a limited partner, on the syndication side. And you don't have to run the business. You don't have to be involved. You don't have to get your hands dirty. You just get the return of 10 or 12%. And so that's one way you can do it without having to put the elbow grease in up front.
100%. Yeah, I love that. Now let's talk about the bridge to get there. So some people are exiting a business, Bitcoin, real estate, and they'd love to be able to 1031 exchange, Brandon, into your syndication self-storage fund or your syndication just GP LP structure, but they can't. Either it's not like-kind replacement requirement, or they can't carve out the tick and do all this. The timing's not right. So we developed a strategy that helps people defer capital gains taxes, and we call it the bridge into your syndication without having to use a 1031 exchange. So we've done it with Bitcoin, business sales, real estate. And it can invest passively into the real estate fund or passively into the real estate syndication. No timing restrictions, no like-kind replacement requirement, doesn't affect the structure or the entity in which it's going into. And it's a beautiful, we call it the Netflix way of exit planning. And it accelerates the ability to get that truly passive income because they get to defer that tax on the way in, an extra 20, 30, 40% more proceeds when it's investing. And on second part of that is a lot of time these equity deals are 5 or 6% ROEs. And now they're getting double digit debt, 10, 12, 13, 14%. But in the traditional 1031, you can't trade, investment real estate for a debt position, and it's taxable, right? And so the whole tax flow game is our focus. I'm curious, what's your biggest frustration when it comes to the 1031 exchange or just capital gains tax?
We don't. You're a much better expert on that. You could share that with me. Actually, we don't. I mean, we encourage people, and I personally have moved 401k, and my wife used to be a teacher, 403b, moved her money into solo 401k with check writing ability. I think it's just called a solo 401k. But we were able to transfer that over, and then we can use that money to invest in properties, and I become the person who's writing the check or choosing where we're going to invest it. So obviously with a 401k or a 403b or an IRA, if you work for a company and you're giving a portion of it to that company or to the investor, they're putting it into some type of mutual fund. And when you transfer it into a solo 401k, and again, I'm not an expert in it, so but I did it personally, and my brother did, and several other people. But they're able to transfer that money into a solo 401k. There's no taxable thing because you're moving it from one investment account to another investment account. So you're not taxed on it. You can then invest it the way you want to invest it. You can invest it in real estate. There are some regulations around what you can put it in, but you can invest that, get a return on it, and basically control your own 401k. So that's really the only piece of it that we've had any experience in at all.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing. And people want to learn more about how to do an exit and build a capital gains tax expert without using a 1031 exchange on any asset of any kind. You go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Then you can turn around and invest it into passive real estate Reg D funds, do your own investing, or diversify into securities, all tax deferred. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. All right, so let's keep moving on here. So we have found the property, right? We have funded the property, we flipped the property, and then you say, all right, buy 3 and then hold 1, buy 3, hold 1. And then you're like, hey, let's take this to a bigger level. Let's get some self-storage going here. So tell us about the self-storage opportunity, why you like it, and then the general returns and timelines.
Yeah, so once I realized after doing so many transactions, it was great income, flipping houses and buying rentals and stuff like that. But I wanted to do something more generational wealth. I wanted to build something for the long term. I didn't mind putting in more money and more time up front, but I wanted something that was going to continue to pay for years and years and years to come. And so it leaves something to my son and to hopefully allow him to be involved in that space as well. So started looking at both multifamily and self-storage. Actually had a multifamily property in San Antonio, Texas under contract that did not work out. We didn't get a full picture of the property until we actually went out there and did our walkthrough. and realized that the seller was not being forthcoming with all the information. So that did not work out. So I started looking more at self-storage. And the thing that I love about self-storage is you have 1 or 2 bathrooms. You don't have people that live there all the time. You don't have water heaters. You don't have all the things that you have to keep up like you do in a house with a single family or multifamily. So, people go there once every few months. They're there for an hour and that's it. So it's very low cost to build compared to multifamily property. And then the returns on it are great. So started looking at doing some value add self-storage facility. So looking for an existing facility, maybe mom and pop owned, that we could go in and buy, improve, raise rents, and then hold on to that. And just never really found anything that would pencil out. The numbers just wouldn't work. And so this particular property was 2 single family homes that were side by side, and they were on 4.5 acres. And so I was able to negotiate, get a good price on those. And then during my due diligence, I discovered, number one, there was a brand new Walmart next door. So I knew that there was a likelihood that it would go commercial. But I found in my research that the property, the future land use map showed that it was general commercial. So the county had already determined that they wanted that property to go commercial. There was a lot of residential around it, but it was a 4-lane road, very busy road. And so I was able to buy the property, take it through zoning, and get a special use permit so that we could build a self-storage facility. And I then partnered with a friend of mine who I'd known for 10 years who had done a lot of self-storage development. He came in as a general partner with me, and we, started building the property, started building the facility, and we're still in construction right now, so we haven't started the lease up, but still under construction. And so far, everything's going well. We have some pro formas from some of the big REITs and other storage facility owners, and it looks like it's going to be a great project. Takes much longer, like I said, and costs a good bit more, but looks like it'll be a good project once it's all done.
Awesome. And so that being said, are you planning on holding it long term? Planning on selling it?
So we did our underwriting to hold it, of course, to hold it long term. It depends on, my partners have had exits, years after they've owned the property and increased the value, and they've had exits at CO, certificate of occupancy. So we're really just going to wait and see. We're planning to lease it up and to operate it for years. But if we have one of the REITs come along and offer a ridiculous price at CO, then we'll certainly entertain that. But long-term goal is to definitely hold a few of them.
Okay. And you're going to call me beforehand, because here's what I found with the developers, right, Brandon? You can sell, you can defer the tax. And when the 1031, you typically have to go buy something equal or greater value, right? Mm-hmm. Which you're like, no, I want to go buy the land in these houses for low value. Then I want to develop for a few years, and then I want to do it all over again. So our strategy allows you, the developer, to tax deferred fund your next project. Okay, so it's all tax deferred, and there's no timing restrictions. We just did a $13 million exit for a car wash owner. This is a couple of years ago. They build gas stations and car washes, and that's their model. They're like, Brett, why would we buy something for $13 million? We bought the land for $500K, put about $3.5 million of development cost, and then now it's worth $13 million. We want to do that over and over and over again. We don't want to buy something for $13 million that's existing. That has a very low ROE. And so again, it's just a little plug, but I think there's a lot of synergy there. Okay. That being said, anything else that I haven't asked you as far as maybe the coaching and stuff, that the services that you offer people, and maybe you can talk about that, and then we'll go to the lightning round.
Yeah. The only other thing I would say, I think you asked us about storage. I didn't touch on it, but we did do a syndication on a portion of it, obviously. And so, we had a really good return for our investors. It's a 7% preferred return, which is not outstanding. It's okay, but we did 80% of the equity. So the GPs hold 20% of the equity. The LPs got 80% of the equity. So 80% of the cash flow, as long as we operate it, 80% of the profit when we sell it. So not as much on the preferred side, but more on the equity side. So I think, that made it, we were able to raise that equity pretty quick because of that. Different structures, obviously.
So like if someone put $100K in there, for example, and let's say it takes 3 years to build and all this stuff. So that'd be, $7,000 per year, right? 7,000. So he's paying 21,000, right? For those 3 years. Does the 80-20 kick in after that's been paid, or is that a part of their 80%, that 21K?
No, they get the 7% preferred first, and then they also, in addition, get the 80%.
Right. And so let's say there was $1 million of profit as an example. They would get 21,000 first, and then
Yes.
21 minus $1 million. Now it's 80-20. Yeah. Okay.
That's correct. Yep.
I feel like you have to ask that sometimes because sometimes it's unclear in different syndications and when that's coming in and when that's coming out. So
yeah,
that seems nice. And so how long do you think the project from start to finish will take?
Construction is 11 months, and then 2 years to lease up. So if you do the whole thing, it's about 3 years from start of construction to lease up.
Okay, awesome. And if people are accredited investors, want to learn more about that, they can just go to theflipgenius.com.
Yeah, they can just email me, Brandon@theflipgenius.com. We have another website and has all our investor portal and investor docs and all that stuff.
And is that in Marietta, Georgia, or where is that at?
It's in Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Oh, Lawrenceville. Okay, all right. There it is. All right, excellent. You ready for the lightning round?
Sure.
All right, now I want you to know now, if you go back to your 20-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget make sure you tell yourself to do?
Hold more properties than I did.
Oh.
We sold a lot of them. Certainly when we started flipping a lot of properties, that quick cash was nice. And so we held some properties over time, sold them. And I think if I could go back now, I would hold as many of them as I could.
Okay. Yeah. Good insight. Question number 2, number 1 book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
Well, the Bible certainly is always my number 1 go-to. I guess that's the easy one for those of us who are believers. So yeah, the Bible. After that, of course, Rich Dad, Poor Dad was one that was great for me from a business perspective. True Faced is another one that doesn't get much play these days. True Faced, and it's really about living authentically and kind of removing the mask that we all like to wear. And everything's fine, everything's great, and it's more about removing the mask, letting people see who you are really. Sharing with them who you really are and being able to live authentically with other people. So that was a game changer book for me too.
Excellent. True Face. Check it out, everybody. Question number 3. What are you most curious about right now?
I'm most curious about transitioning 100% into the self-storage world. We still flip houses, of course, and we still teach a lot of people how to flip houses, but I really enjoy the self-storage industry. I think part is because I've just gotten into it, and so I'm learning a lot right now, which I love to learn new things. So just really curious about that whole industry and hoping to do a lot more in that space in the years to come.
Excellent. Number 1 way you're using ChatGPT?
Oh gosh, probably to write listings for our when we're selling a property. We can put a property address in. Tell ChatGPT a little bit about the house, and I can do my best. And we've listed, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses, and I can write my best description, and then I put it in the ChatGPT, and it's like, wow, you should see this. This is amazing.
Excellent. Number 1 leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by?
Probably theme would be a go-giver. Be a go-giver first. I could tell you lots of stories. We don't have time today, but lots of stories about people that we've helped. We've bought their houses from them and helped them through difficult situations and prayed with them, and not only helped them buy their house, but helped them, in their life situation through difficult times. And so, based on who we are and what our beliefs are, and I believe in helping other people and being a go-giver. Give all you can, and that's success to me.
Awesome. Love it. My last question, and it's kind of the theme of the podcast, which is having a stewardship mindset over ownership. So what's the best way that you practice to have a steward mindset when you live every day?
A steward mindset. Well, I think I've been very fortunate, very blessed to grew up in real estate and have had a lot of experience in real estate. And so giving that back, of course, our son, who's 15, he's unfortunately, my wife's an agent, and so we're all about real estate, and so he's getting all of the download about real estate. But even to the people that we coach and mentor, I'm also a basketball coach at the high school level. So it's really just about kind of pouring out and giving back to the next generation, whether it be professionally through the experiences in business that we've had, certainly with our capital that we've been blessed with and stewarding that, but then also sharing with the next generation, character, not only finances and business, but also character and faith and those kind of things.
Brandon Rickman, it's been more than a pleasure on the show, and I encourage you to keep using the gifts and talents you've given to be blessing others, to bless others, to help them fix and flip more houses, invest into real estate, get passive income, make a bigger impact in this world. For our listeners who want to get in touch with you one last time, what's the best place for them to find you?
Brandon at theflipgenius.com, theflipgenius.com. And we have, if they want to send me an email, I can send them some free videos. How to find your next flip is one that people usually love to see. I outlined 10 different ways that you can find a next property. 5 of them are free things that you can do. 5 of them are paid. So if they want to send me an email, if they have any questions, I'm certainly willing to help any way I can.
Awesome. Thank you, Brandon Rickman. I also want to thank all of our listeners for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax News Podcast, also Build to Billions Podcast. Yes, we're streaming on both podcasts, 2 for 1 here. Same show, just different intro and outro. So if you're wanting to learn and grow with your wealth, with your faith, with your life, with your impact, you want to check out both shows. We're on this journey with you to scale from millions to billions so we can give more all the way to help MVPs. I want you to take action today with sharing this with someone that could help, make their next flip, or if you have a big exit coming up, check out the book, Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan, to build your next exit plan, right? You spend 10, 15, 20 years building a business or real estate. Guess what? You spend a few hours with us. We can defer that capital gains tax, give you more freedom and impact with the wealth. Check out capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to pick up the book. Appreciate everyone listening or watching out there, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye now.